Welcome to Lucy Muse YouTube News, and this time it's Real Sister. I'm here with Ben and my real sister. Now you might recognise her because she's been doing, or has been doing previously, some stuff with me, and she's taking a little break, and that's because
I've had a baby.
she's had a beautiful baby.
It's quite hard to work practically full-time and be a mum. A lot harder than I thought it would be. It's not that motherhood has fed you through a lie, but I don't think many people tell you about the negatives, just all of the positives. After giving birth, you're still living off a lot of adrenaline, and you're not as sure of your emotions and the things that you can and can't do, and you think you can balance everything until you realise that this thing that you have, I say thing, baby, is completely reliant on you. So, anything that you do, you have to just watch, make sure that they're breathing, constantly worried that they're not breathing. You have to make sure everything, what they're eating, what they're touching. And you think, oh, I've got 5 minutes to just take a photo. I've got like 5 minutes, I could just put something on, do a pose, put some makeup on, and then they wake up, and then you can't, and then you just feel stressed, and then you're not in the right frame of mind to be able to do it.
You really only want to model and do things like that if you're enjoying it.
Yeah, well, I enjoy doing body positivity, and I still do a lot of that. Just obviously having the baby, it did change my body. At first, I was like, I'm okay with this. It changed my body in ways that I didn't think it would. Hormones and stuff like that, skin, your shape, not mentioning your stomach. I got in my own head and got quite self-conscious about it. Now I'm all right with my body. A lot of new mums don't openly talk about that kind of stuff. I dealt with a bit of postnatal depression.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to go through, and if you haven't got any people that have kind of gone through that as well, it's hard to bring it up because you're afraid of how people will treat you, and then you've kind of been stained in a way because then those people know what you've been thinking, how you've been feeling, and you become quite vulnerable in that. My way of dealing that has been, quite openly talking about it, writing it down.
You're like a really good communicator, aren't you?
People warn me sometimes that, if I do that, if I try and help loads of different people, then I'll take on their kind of, their pain and stuff like that.
Do you find that a lot if you start talking, other people just lump their stuff on top?
A lot of people will just talk at me.
Actually, I've got a few... No.
Please, it'll distract me from my own internal problems. I think a lot of new mums think that you have to be like this perfect image. Your baby should sleep through the night. It should be able to walk at a certain time, and it should be able to say certain words, dress a certain way. There's a lot of unintentional mum shaming, but I've been very open about how I raise my baby. I think people should talk more openly about it.
Do you think talking in person is better than kind of discussing it online?
I like talking to people in person because I can read emotions better. Sometimes just talking to a stranger actually you share more than you would talking to someone you know. Breastfeeding as well, that was one of the hardest things. I nearly gave up after a couple of weeks because I just didn't think I was doing it right, and there wasn't a lot of help out there.
You gave birth at a tricky time as well, like smack bang in the middle of lockdown. So you had to go to a lot of things yourself as well.
Really stressful.
It's not how I planned having a baby. Not that I would obviously change it.
I suppose lockdown was the least of your worries at the time.
Yeah. My partner couldn't come to the hospital with me, couldn't come to a lot of appointments.
They wouldn't let him, would they, because of the...
Yeah. I was lucky to have him at the actual birth. Leading up to that, I had some really horrible contractions, and it was like the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I literally thought I was going to die.
Oh no, hang on. I stubbed my toe earlier, and that really hurt.
To be fair, I've stubbed a toe and it does hurt sometimes. But yeah.
It's alright, you get permission to punch me in the face.
No, it does hurt.
You'll have all the mothers groups after you now.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
sure they should.
It's not something that anyone can really describe to you. Like, I thought the actual giving birth was going to be the thing that hurt the most, but no, the contractions, I was high. I decided to tell the maternity nurse and midwives every kind of like rude thing that's happened to me. I asked them if they could do a Harry Potter scar with a tear that I had. She had to stop stitching me up because she was laughing so much.
Did she do a Harry Potter?
No, she didn't. She said she couldn't, apparently, but,
What's the matter with people?
I know.
I actually think that it's a really challenging and impressive thing that my sister's done. It's not something I could ever imagine doing myself. It's a lot of
I
hard
couldn't
work.
imagine doing any of that stuff.
Apparently, I've
The
put
giving birth, especially, I couldn't do it. How
science
could
has come a long
No,
How
you
would
way.
I
should.
do
You
that?
should.
Could I do that?
Do you want my womb? Will that work?
I don't know. There's a film, isn't there, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he gives birth.
Yeah, it's called Twins, isn't it? Danny DeVito.
No, it's not. It's a different one. There's a
Sure.
different
Is it
film. I
Daddy
think
Baker?
it's no.
No, I
There's
swear
another
it's
one.
twins. Oh,
Does he
maybe
give
not.
birth into- No, there's another one, and I think
No, he is pregnant in one of them, isn't he?
Anyway,
I think Emma Thompson's in it.
Being
Doctor.
pregnant.
Why don't you
A
know what this
doctor.
film is?
Sorry?
thank you so much for taking the time. I know you haven't got much of it to be part of this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Brilliant. Bye.